Welcome back to the Executive Excel podcast. Today we're tapping into a topic that is really close to my heart and something I really connect to because I experienced it myself. And it's incredibly relevant to a lot of healthcare leaders out there, even if they never want to say it out loud or even admit it. As healthcare leaders, we are trained to spot risk, to act fast, to be decisive, and to care for others. And as a result, we often resist admitting that we're not okay or that we're struggling. So when an executive or an executive healthcare leader is asked, how are you doing? They'll often reply, I'm fine. And if you ask them about how they're dealing with the stress of the job, they'll tell you, I've gotten used to it. Or I used to say all the time, stress, I thrive in stress, I'm good. But behind the scenes, they're exhausted. I know I was. And maybe their relationships are struggling like mine were. Or they're starting to have issues with their health and they don't want to admit to people that they are, but they are. If that's you, first of all, know that you're not by yourself in this. There's a whole lot of us out here who are just pretending like the stress of the world is not actually weighing us down. And the second is that I'm here to talk about this today because I want you to kind of do a bit of a self-assessment as I talk through this. Maybe this content will help you to see yourself in it, so that you can deal with this before you become burned out or before it has a massive impact on your life. So in the executive cadre, it doesn't really matter what world or sector you're in, but in healthcare in particular, especially post-COVID world where burnout is still very much a thing for a lot of people, where people are still recovering from it. Some people have left their relative professions as a result. We've seen a leaching of nurses, for example, and even doctors from the field. And it's a high pressure setting by default, right? There's just so much at stake in our decision-making as executive leaders in healthcare and otherwise. You're balancing if you are in healthcare, as I was for my entire life, either as a practitioner or as a leader and an executive in the public service. You're expected to balance things like not only the budgets but the outcomes for your clients, for your patients. You're trying to deal with staff shortages or HR rotational issues that you have in your department. You're dealing with compliance requirements, maybe even regulatory requirements every day. There's budgets, obviously, that are it seems like they're getting tighter and tighter, and we're still expected to meet our mandates or complete our work with less money, less resources. So the stress piece, it's just normal. It's part of life in your day-to-day work. You become almost like a professional firefighter. You're constantly putting out fires in your world. Like every day, it felt like there was something that I had to douse somewhere about something. But here's the catch. When you've lived in an environment like that for long enough, what happens is that your nervous system does start to normalize it. Your body is very capable of adapting to the stress of its environment. So what might have felt unsustainable when you first started your role, for example, might start to feel a little bit more, I don't know if the word is controlled, but you feel like you've somehow adapted to the pace. That's where the danger lies in all of this. Because when that happens, you actually stop paying attention to the signals that your body sends you. You start operating from a constant state of flight or fight, and you almost forget, because you're completely disconnected, what it is that your body is telling you until it's too late, till you've had that heart attack, that stroke, or you've burned out, or you get a cancer diagnosis or something that stops you in your tracks. You might have told yourself, well, I've adapted to the stress. I'm doing okay. But adaptation is not the same as resilience. Adaptation is your body's way of surviving the moment. It's survival mechanisms. It has an immediate cost to your long-term well-being, your health, your wealth, etc., as well as impacting your decision-making, your clarity, your focus, all the things. Resilience is experiencing the stress, but having tools and tactics that keep your nervous system in check, that gets your body out of fight, flight, fawn, freeze, but puts you in a more relaxed, more resilient, controlled state. And that's a tall order when you're feeling stressed out from the time you get up in the morning to the time you go to bed. And for some of us, even in the middle of the night when you wake up at 4 a.m. in hot sweats or cold sweats because of a decision you made that you're now second guessing. Sound familiar? So let's just, before we get into some of the tactics, let's talk about the real big reasons why healthcare leaders resist admitting that they're struggling. The first is identity factor. You've built a career on being dependable, on being competent, on being capable. You know, you're the one that not only can handle it, but everybody else depends on to show up and do the thing. You know, get shit done every day. So admitting that you're not okay or that you're struggling cracks that wide open. And our egos don't want us to go there. The second reason is the comparison trap. We look around and we start thinking, well, everybody else seems to be managing okay. The vice president seems to be doing okay. The CEO is doing okay. My president is doing okay. Is it just me? Like, it must be me. Like, I'm just not enough. I'm not tough enough, right? If I'm struggling, so I can't admit that. But here's the truth, is that if you're struggling behind closed doors, what the hell do you think is going on behind theirs? If you think that you're the only one in a health organization or in any organization that's struggling, think again. It's behind every closed door. Every leader is questioning themselves and wondering, why am I not coping with this? Am I not enough? The third reason is the fear of impact. So if you're struggling and you admit it, you're going to immediately be concerned about things like career limitation, or that somehow your reputation will take a hit. If you're a woman in a leadership position, this magnifies, because we then think, oh, we're going to confirm the bias that women don't have what it takes, that I'm somehow weak because I'm not managing my stress. And you worry that maybe the opportunities might not come if you admit that you're struggling in this moment, or that the team will question your leadership if you admit that you're struggling in this moment. And the fourth reason is an adaptation myth. This is a big one. You believe that you have adapted, but in reality, you've just learned to push all of those reality checks, all of those signals, all those check-ins into the background. You've learned how to shove them down, to internalize the stress. You barely notice them. And when you do, you just kind of stuff them down in some place in the body where you're like, you know what? We're not dealing with that right now. We're just going to keep going. Keep calm, carry on, right? The problem is when you push and push and push, eventually that can break. I had a guest on a podcast this week that said that we talk about how people brag about, well, you know, I'm like a piece of coal. If you just keep squeezing me, I'm going to become a diamond. But the thing is if the pressure never stops, even the nicest, most beautiful, clearest, best diamond is going to crack. And that's why adaptation is a myth. So what's the cost of staying silent, of not saying anything? You think you know what the cost is of saying something, but what's the cost of not saying anything, of just ignoring it, right? Just keep stuffing it. Like, who needs to know this? Like, put up and shut up and put up already, right? The hard truth is that the data and the evidence is pretty clear. The longer you delay acknowledging the impacts of stress on your psyche, on your spiritual life, on your professional life, on your personal life, and on your physical form, the higher the cost. So we're talking about things like subtle cognitive decline, a lack of focus, forgetfulness, being late when you used to be on time, making more mistakes, which if you're in the healthcare domain, I mean, if you're a registered nurse with direct patient care, that just boosts all of your errors, medical errors go through the roof. But even as an executive, if you're making mistakes, it can cost the organization money, resources, time. There's emotional wear and tear that can erode on things like patience and empathy and your ability to be present for those that actually are a significant part of your life, like your family or your friends or your loved ones. There are physical tolls. So things like, think disruptive sleep and headaches and indigestion and irritable bladders. These are all stress-related things. Add to that more serious things like high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, immune diseases like autoimmune disorders, inflammatory processes like arthritis that are all augmented, boosted, if you will, due to the inflammatory markers that show up in your bloodstream when your cortisol is raging through your body because of stress. So this isn't about scaring you, but it's a reality check. You need to recognize that when you stay silent and you just kind of stuff down into the body all that stress, you're forcing your neurological system to shove all that stress into your physical form in places and spaces that it doesn't belong. And it's just accelerating your problems You try to avoid it, you can't outrun it. It's like me carrying the extra weight that I carry right now. If I were to choose to just continue to eat junk food, continue to not work out, continue to not at least try to do something to submit to shed this weight that I have on my body. If I don't try to do something, eventually that extra weight's going to result in an increased risk of cancer or increased blood pressure problems or type 2 diabetes. I'm pre-diabetic now. So at some point, you have to start recognizing that something has to be done. So what's a simple first step, right? You don't need to solve your entire life's nonsense in one day or in 1 hour, even in 1 month or even a year. Let's be honest. But you can start to take steps forward to help yourself starting today. So what's one thing you can do? Well, just being aware. So if anything's come to you as you're listening to me, yeah, that's me. I have headaches. I have a lack of sleep. I have no more sexual desire, whatever. Start thinking about what is it about me that is the stress rather that's causing me issues? Like where is this causing me issues? And by the way, if you are worried or wondering about this and you're not exactly sure, I can help you. I have a scorecard. There's a leadership, energy, and stress resilience scorecard. A link in the description down below. I want you to go ahead and sign up for that. Like click on it and do the assessment because it's a personalized assessment and it'll tell you if you're in the critical zone or in the moderate stress resilience, or if you actually have some resilient habits already in place and where stress is showing up for you. It takes literally 3 minutes and it'll give you a snapshot at least. It's a start. And you'll get personalized results as a result of doing it, of completing it. That's one way. So that will help you raise your awareness. I mean, the idea is to try to raise your awareness so you can find the signs and the signals before it causes a full collapse, because that's not what you want. If the results show that you're in a good place, great, fantastic. Maybe you can optimize, and there'll be areas you'll see, I'm like, well, I could optimize in that area maybe, but it'll give you a baseline to work with to move forward. Another simple step is when you're feeling that tension come into the body, you're feeling a lot of stress come in because you just had a bad meeting or what have you, just take a minute to connect with yourself in the present moment through breath. Hack your system through your nervous system. Take a deep breath in, count of 4, hold at the top for 4, out for 6, in for 4, hold, out for 6, nice long exhales. And if you do that over 7, 8, 9, 10 cycles, you signal to your brain that you're safe because you're tapping into your parasympathetic nervous system that gets triggered when nice, cool, calm, slow breathing air goes past the olfactory nerve through the nose up into the sinuses. And the olfactory nerve goes, oh, there's air slowly coming through the nose, not through the mouth. And the parasympathetic is activated. And you can relax your nervous system. You can hack your own nervous system by doing that. Just a simple thing is through breath. If you've been telling yourself, I'm fine, I've adapted, I want you to just pause for a minute. Go to the scorecard, do that. Once you get the results, ask yourself, based on the results, what's one thing I'm going to do today to start changing course here? And that's just simply because you deserve to feel good. You deserve health. You deserve your leadership. You deserve a great career, but you also deserve to feel like your life isn't spiraling out of control. Your friends, your family, your work colleagues, your team, your executive cadre, you all deserve the best version of you, not the worn out version of you that struggles every day. If any of this resonated, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, check out the scorecard. If you need extra help with this, there's links for my calendar. Within the scorecard results, you'll see where you can connect with me. Let's see what I can do to support you in all of this. In the meantime, folks, stay grounded, stay inspired, and remember to exhale.